is not a genetic base.
No, it's not.
We've seen the same studies with people with twins getting cancer that were adopted into different families.
Yeah.
And it was all about the lifestyle.
Yeah,
I
definitely. I mean, there's that whole field of epigenetics, which it just means that you have genes, but that gives you a vulnerability, but you can alter your genes with your lifestyle.
Or maybe not alter them, but they express themselves differently.
Right, right.
Right.
Even
Yeah.
when it comes to cancer, like there's so many cancers that people might have BRCA gene or HER2 or any other gene, like mutated, but they could never develop cancer. But people that would develop cancer without having any genetic mutation. So this like a theory of genetic diseases. It's been like since 2003 has been like kind of resourced and searched and proven that it's not a DNA driven cancer or any other diseases, because the heart, even take heart conditions, heart conditions, people, why people did not have one in 1920s or 30s or even in 1900. 100 years ago, people weren't as sick as we are right now. And consuming all the oils, when they start taking off of the market, not taking off of the market, but talking bad about real fat or real food, and start bringing in margarine, start bringing in like seed oils, everything starts skyrocketing. And and just to keep people blind, that's the system is working the way is, okay, let's blame the genetics. So
Right. The big boogeyman before was germs, right? So it's always things that we can't see.
right.
And can't quantify.
Yeah, or virus or anything like that. And it's going to take another 50, 60 years for them to come up with like a study that, oh, it's not generic, depression is not generic. The same thing what happened with cancer. It took them 60 years to basically wipe down Otto Warburg, which in 1920 kind of got the Nobel Prize saying that cancer was a metabolic disease. But since 1920s, for 100 years, it was under the table. No one did research it more deeper. And now scientists are picking up and then using his theory of cancer being metabolic disease. It's not only cancer, I would say all type of diseases being metabolic diseases, right?
Absolutely.
So they're basically proven Otto Warburg's theory that is the approach to cancer. So for us, so it can take another 50, 60, if it's not more, to kind of come up and say, oh, okay, depression is not a genetic disease, or obesity is not genetic disease. So Ozempic, what is Ozempic? Something that's been around for 5 years, or how long? I don't even know, like 5 years?
Has it been that long? It feels brand new to me.
Is it? Yeah, 3 to 5 years. And they're like, and it's already been like affecting people in a bad way.
Very negatively.
Very negatively in affecting their digestive system, their hormones, everything. Yes, people are losing weight, but with losing weight, they're losing their health and they're losing their life, basically.
There's areas that work on fat, and one of them's your brain.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Yeah.
Like, so it's pretty serious. Now, it's pretty commonly known that in the medical journals that they say that 80% of all chronic diseases are diet related.
If not
Is that
more.
the right number?
If not more, I would.
Yeah. I mean, we would think a lot more.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, unless people get like infection or accident or anything like that, but
right.
More than 80, yeah. I said diet and lifestyle related, not only diet.
Right. You can't just be smoking a pack of cigarettes every day and expect nothing to happen.
Right. Or drink alcohol.
Right.
But you were talking about obesity, right? And I've done a fair bit of coaching with weight management, and a lot of people will say, I've tried everything and I can't lose weight. So that is a mental belief. And obviously, if you believe that whatever you do, it's not going to make any difference and you can't lose weight, then it's not going to happen, right?
There's no possible way that they could try everything in the whole entire world. Yeah. That is one of the things like I could say. Trying is not for 3 days or for a week or 2 weeks. They have to try. Try is like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked in the gym industry for a lot of years, and I was a personal trainer for a lot of years. And I could tell you the amount of people that actually work out seriously or at any capacity that would affect change and diet along with it correctly. You know, they were very, very few
mhm,
of the hundreds and hundreds of people I would see coming through the doors every day.
yeah,
It was very, very few. Most people come in there, they walk on the treadmill for whatever 20 minutes, and they're in and out of there, and at 45 minutes an hour, they barely break a sweat. I don't. I mean, it's better than nothing. So
yeah,
I
Yeah, for
credit I
sure.
credit them that.
yeah.
The other thing that is pretty commonly known is that there's at least 32 different types of cancer that come from an unhealthy body weight, from being, uh, you know, overweight to morbidly obese.
Yeah. The, the people have to understand all the all the bad toxins or you know the parasite viruses. They store themselves in fat cells, the unhealthy fat cells, not in that is a spot like at the cells that comes out from like polyunsaturated fat, like unhealthy fats. That's what they saw, but for particular toxins. And people are going to have a hard time to detoxify their own body if they're not going to lose weight. Or not, I wouldn't say like losing weight if they're not going to get rid of the fat that get
Right,
built
right.
up, you know, in the areas that shouldn't be there. So, and it's easy for people like it's the way government psychologically basically like propose to people. It's like generic, like there's nothing you can do about it. A lot
Yeah,
of people
exactly.
feel comfortable on that in that aspect, like okay, I can eat whatever, I cannot do anything. So it's generic, there's nothing I can do, because people don't want to give up on the food that they got addicted to. And the psychologically, like these companies, they know that part, and they would bring something to the table that makes people, okay, you know what, I'll listen to that because it's generic, there's nothing I can do. So
I found a great little app, but Zach and I both agree it's really for kind of the novice people. But I think it's great, especially if you're just a busy person, just and you're shopping for your family. It's called Yucca, Yuka, and
yeah,
and it scans barcodes, and then it'll tell you all the hazardous. Well, it tells you all the. It gives it a score first, but if it has additives in it that are unnatural and natural, it'll list them all, and it'll list the ones that are hazardous. Like literally, they're you know you
it's a
shouldn't
good
be eating
app.
this.
It's a very good app actually.
So I don't know if you can that see that list
Hmm. Yeah.
all red. That's a cupcake that my son loves to eat, and there's 25 hazardous chemicals in that cupcake. I mean,
Right.
what's in a cupcake? It's flour, sugar, egg, butter,
Yeah.
cocoa. I mean,
Should
isn't that what a cupcake's made out of?
Yeah, should be. I mean, should be. But what it is now, we don't even know what's inside those cupcakes anymore.
Well, it's no wonder people are sick, right? They just pick up this stuff. They don't think nothing about it, and they feed it to their kids.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm guilty because that's his favorite one, and that's the one he's
I
not
think
eating it all the time.
one of the worst things is people who are pregnant and they're eating these awful diets, and babies are being formed with all these chemicals and things going into their system, and that's really dangerous.
I tell you, it's really a testament to how resilient the human body is. Because you know, you you'd think babies wouldn't survive that. It's such a fragile state, and we shouldn't be surviving eating all these caustic chemicals, putting all these bathing in them, living in them,
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
irradiating from our phones, these headphones, everywhere.
Yeah.
We're bombarded with stuff, and it definitely affects us all in different ways.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing we're all standing.
Yeah. No question. I have a colleague actually who's starting to tell her clients that there are no bad foods. And I
Oh,
have a real problem with that because I think that, what we were just saying is that some foods are loaded with chemicals, and so that they cannot possibly be good for the human system, right?
well, maybe that clinician is correct. There's no bad foods, but that I wouldn't even qualify as food. You know, depends on what your definition of food is. If you're talking about something right off the tree or out the
It's
ground,
not
that's
food,
food.
right? Yeah.
It-
I think she's doing that because she's into sort of the idea of shame and blame, and we don't want to be shaming and blaming people, but I think that's going a little bit too far. I think people really do have to make good choices about food that they eat.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've seen
So
a lot of that lately as well. I think especially on social media, there's been a couple cancer influencers really getting popular with the message of you can eat whatever you want, eat the sugar, it doesn't matter, it's all fine. And obviously people flock to that because it's a
Yeah.
super easy thing to follow. It's a super, feel good, do whatever you want. It's a much more easy to wrap your mind around because it's less work. It's
yeah,
a
Mhm.
message
we're
for
just
people.
telling them what they want to hear. They want to hear that. So
Basically, yeah, and I
yeah,
think it's hugely damaging.
Yeah. My
absolutely,
fa-
it's
my favorite
disingenuous.
my favorite one when they say you can eat everything in moderation.
Yeah, that's kind of misleading too, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because
because people saying that because that's what people want to hear. Because it's hard for people to give up their love what they love, what they're addicted to. I wouldn't say love, like addicted to, but eating everything in moderation. I think that's what they're like. They want to hear, and they're saying that. Okay, you know what? You can eat whatever. Eating a little bit sugar is okay, particularly during cancer. No, it's not okay at all. You know.
right, and it's hidden everywhere, so they really don't have a correct gauge of
Right.
how much sugar they're taking in per day. I mean, like I said, I worked in the fitness industry for a long time, and I've done a lot of things in the to my body, you know, diet and working out and trying different things. Um, so I've literally done that where I would measure out the grams and of protein and really be as precise as possible, and that is hard. I would literally create my meals at one or 2 days a week and store them up in the refrigerator, and I would eat at specific times of the day, and you
Mhm.
know it was very very difficult to to stay that way. So if people are saying, oh, I can just have this in moderation, they really have no idea what they're eating. If they're not monitoring it to that degree, how could they possibly know?
Yeah. Guess what? There's a diet. I mean, not diets. I would say proper human food out there that you don't have to eat in moderation.
Exactly.
You're full, you can enjoy, and you'll be staying full because you're getting all the nutrients that your body needs. And the
Exactly.
body gets hunger signals when the body depleted in nutrients.
Yeah,
That's all the
and,
body.
and, and sugar or sugar substitutes also turn off that receptor in your brain that tells you you're full. It turns off the
Yeah,
satiety
it
effect.
does,
So
and it's no nutrients. It's like that's why people are constantly feeling hungry when they're on a high carbohydrates or sugar diet. They will eat every hour and a half to 2 hours because their body is depleted in nutrients and it's asking for food, and they keep giving the same thing over and over, and that's why they never get
and they're
satisfied.
they're constantly spiking their insulin as well. I mean, I think like I used to think that the worst time to be out driving was around 2 o'clock in the morning when the bars let out because all the drunks are on the road. I really think the worst time to be driving is 2 in the afternoon when people are just, they've just eaten lunch, and it's just about that right amount of time where they're coming down off their insulin spike. I mean, people are falling asleep at the wheel. You know, it's like it's people that work a day job. They around 3 o'clock. Well, let's say first 10 o'clock in the morning. They're already crashing. They need more coffee because they're crashing from their quick fix breakfast, their whatever they ate on the way to work, and then they need to pick me up, and then after lunch around 2 o'clock, they're all falling asleep at their desk again.
Yeah.
It's just those ups and downs of the insulin spikes.
Right.
Every
I think
sign.
it's really important to keep things simple, and I learned about this filter question that you can ask yourself when you're choosing what to buy in the grocery store or in a restaurant or whatever. And the question is this good for my health? And so most people know what foods are good for their health. And so if they just sort of run everything through that filter question, it just simplifies everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another one I heard was if you can't imagine it being alive, you probably should like the ingredients list. If you can't imagine what that ingredient was at one point, like you know what a carrot looks like, you know what a cow looks like.
Yeah. I always tell my clients, like, if it grows on the tree, if it grows on the soil, then you can have it. If you cannot grow them yourself, and they're not coming from a whole thing that you're familiar with, let's say banana or anything like that, then stop skipping.
Right.
Because there's so many ingredients, it's just hard for people to even remember what is good now and what is bad.
That's kind of why I like that app. So you don't have to remember all this stuff that's hazardous as a big list in your mind. You just scan it with the barcode, and you can see how much it is terrible.
Yeah.
And
It would help.
it's for cosmetics and all that too. It's not just food.
Yeah.
And I'm no affiliate of the app. Well, I get nothing for talking about it. So I got to say that now that we're on YouTube and Instagram. I get no kickbacks. Oh, you're shilling that app.
It's a
Yeah, good. I think it helps to have better laws in the country too, because I know the same product in the UK and or in the US, that you have the same product and the ingredient list in the UK is short, and in the US it's like 3 times as long with all this stuff they put in.
Even Canada, just right over the border, you get different cereals with the like, let's just say a really bad one, Fruit Loops. I saw that used as an example. It's a really bad cereal, but it's got all kinds of red dyes and all this other stuff in it here in America because it makes it brighter colored. And in Canada, it doesn't have that. It doesn't have nearly the list of seriously bad ingredients.
Right.
And we pay more.
Yeah.
On top of it. So we get a cheaper product and pay more. Yeah. It's unfortunate in this country, like the woman that I was talking about, the doctor that's got ties to Ozempic. They're the ones making the laws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're the ones that are in control, and we won't get too controversial, but just follow the money.
Sadly.
Yeah, just follow the money. There's no money in health. Healthy people make terrible clients for doctors.
Mm-hmm. So we don't have a lot of people on today for.
Yeah. We're thinking it was either the presidential debate or people are on vacation. It's right around 4th of July.
Quiet evening.
So we're just talking amongst ourselves.
That's nice.
So when I think about food and sort of the challenges with our food, and especially people with cancer, and things like I think you had mentioned, Carl, the cost and the convenience. So the convenience that processed and refined foods and it's all fast and it's all prepped and
Get ready to go.
yeah, and it seems like a lot of foods that are good for us. And I don't know if anybody has heard of the caffeinated issue. Caffeinated, like um, banning decaffeinated coffee because of the chemicals that are involved in the decaffeination process. Has anybody heard anything about that?
I haven't heard of that, but I think
Yeah.
whoever made decaffeinated coffee deserves a special place in the place down below.
Wait, say that again.
I said whoever invented decaffeinated coffee has a special place in a hot place.
Yeah. Well, to make coffee decaffeinated, it has to go through the chemical process.
That's
mean,
what, yeah.
It's no brainer to think about it that yes, there's some kind of, you know, process involved. That's mean, like they use some chemical or some process. What is that going to make real coffee beans? Like, where is
But
it going to put the real coffee beans that has the caffeine in them? Is that like, you know?
but to ban it rather than, why can't there be a healthy process in making decaffeinated coffee? Just like, food, it seems like the food, when you take the chemicals out of the products that are killing us, um, those products, we're going to pay more for those products to take all of the chemicals out of it so that we can be healthier. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, it's a little different. That's a little different than the caffeine thing, because the caffeine is a naturally occurring element of the coffee bean. So it's a little bit different. And that's the reason why there's not necessarily a way to healthily do that, because you are going against nature. You're going against the nature of the coffee bean. So it's like, it's a hack, if you will. It's a hack of the natural thing.
Yeah,
Huh.
that is true.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's,
And
you know,
the
you've got,
chemicals that are in these processed foods, they're literally cheaper than making them with good ingredients.
yeah.
And it makes them last on the shelf indefinitely, and you know
yeah,
all of that.
companies would make the things that is basically what people want, what the consumers want. If they want a decaf coffee, they will figure it out how to make that decaf coffee. Many things doesn't make sense in our lives, like the way, why are they poisoning people? You know, the same thing with coffee. Why are they making decaf coffee? Because people are not asking for it. You know, they're buying, they're asking for it. I think that's one of the main reasons. But like Zach said, like if you take organic compound and make it inorganic, what is that going to do to your body? So
I
It's
just
almost,
I never saw the sense in having decaffeinated coffee. I just decide after 2 o'clock in the afternoon I cannot have a cup of coffee because I know it's going to affect me badly.
yeah, I'm the same way. I don't drink coffee, but I mean, I tried a couple of times decaf, but when I used to drink coffee, but not. It's
Yeah,
been like,
I've seen people order it like after dinner or whatever because they don't want to have the caffeine. I still think there's trace amounts of caffeine in it, but
There is. There
I
is
just could
trace
never take
amounts
the I
of,
could just never take the
caffeine
taste.
in. Yeah, there is.
So I'm hearing about coffee. Just read their whole coffee beans having issues with mold or something. So you
they are
gotta be
genetically
very careful.
modified. Yeah, they're genetically modified. That's number one.
What,
It is
all coffee beans?
all coffee beans unless they're organic.
Okay, so
You
that's what I
won't
got.
be
If they're
able to
organic.
find, yeah, you won't be able to find non-GMO coffee beans if they're not organic. And even organic, you have to know which one you're buying.
So speaking of organic and non-organic, we all know that appeal is bad on fruits. That they're putting that appeal that Gates, whatever you want to call it, they put it on the fruits so the fruits don't look like they're going to rot. But they're rotten inside. They just look fresh on the outside. And other weird things are happening because of it. But they have another one that they're using for organic fruits. They call it organo peel or something like that.
Yeah.
What was it called? Does anybody know? It's something like that. They make it sound like it's good, but it's basically the same thing. And it's a forever chemical, and it doesn't wash off. So it's pretty amazing the labeling laws and the way they can get around stuff that they can put that on organic food.
Bill Gates just purchased Budweiser. I don't know if you heard about it. So for people who drink out the beers out there, so be careful.
Yep.
Not even though saying like they tested about over 20 different beer types. 19 came out of been containing high level of glyphosate and other toxins.
Sure.
Only one that came back normal was beer from Europe. I think German beer. I don't remember the brand, but
Right.
just like for people who drink beer, be wise.
Right. Right. Certain countries they have banned Roundup use of Roundup and glyphosate for
Right.
whatever. So again, other countries they seem to have provisions in place so they don't poison their own people. But in America, we love to do that. Yeah, yeah. So,
Well,
well,
we are the cancer capital of the world. Is that not pretty much accurate?
yeah,
With
that's
other,
accurate. Yep, yep. And there is
what do we do with that information?
there is studies done. I mean, you've heard of the China study by T. Colin Campbell, uh, where they went all around China and they were trying to figure out, what their diet was because there was such a low incidence of cancer, especially in rural China. And they found out their diet was they ate meat, but it was not like the main thing. It wasn't like a big honking steak and
Mhm.
mashed potatoes and beans, but they ate a healthy diet mostly. And then when their descendants came to America, within one generation, they were developing all the same diseases, cancers, at the same rate as Americans.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Right.
So it's definitely not genetics because they didn't have it running in their family ever. It was definitely their and even if they're eating similar foods just from America, it was their food source, not even the food type. It was the food source where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, Rose. I don't know what we do with that information. I mean, we're trying to spread the good news as cancer coaches. We're trying to affect generational change by helping one person in the family do what they can to be a partner in their healing and helping them be as healthy as possible. And many of them go on to live happy, long lives. We can't use the word cure. We don't actually cure anybody. It heals itself when it's put in the right conditions.
We have to be very careful now when it comes to any food, including plants and everything, because a lot of stuff has been sprayed, uh, cultivated, modified. It's so hard nowadays to focus on something that is trying to get the best thing out there, but it's so hard even to get that. When we go to healthy stores such as like Whole Foods or any other healthy store, like they have that little mist that coming over like produce, vegetables, like the green. That little mist contains chemicals to keep the green produce fresh, and those chemicals, and we're talking about organic stores, so that is a chemical. People going there with a mindset that okay, they're buying all organic, because I was one of them. I would go to Whole Food or any other health store buying the stuff. Okay, that it would never occur to me. I thought it's just a plain water, But it would never occur to me it was like there's a chemicals in that water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can support your local farmers, get to know where your food's coming from. I mean,
Yeah.
we got to get back to basics.
That's what I do. Just a farmer's market. I stopped going to the produce store once in a blue moon that we go, but other than that, just a farmer's market.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
another thing, like when you go to produce store, you will like whether you like it, I mean whether you want it or not, you will grab one or two things here and there that you don't even need and bring it home. So right?
Limit
So,
your choices.
yeah, and when I stop going, so I'm just like, I don't buy so many things. When I go to farmers market, I just have a list of the things that I have to get. I would just buy it and come back. That's it.
And there's only going to be so many things that are in season.
Right. Everything that is all in season. That's all I get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everybody really has the advantage of farmers markets too.
No, it's
No.
true. It's true. And some people don't have any access to any good food at all. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the Trader Joe's and Whole Foods would be a huge step up from the local convenience store, which a lot of neighborhoods, that's all they have is that local convenience store. They don't have, they have to get on a bus and go for a good long ride and carry all their groceries from, a grocery store that's not in their neighborhood or even close to them.
Yeah, but again, we live in a time where we can order a lot of stuff online. It's just finding a website where you can place an order and make sure you get it on time,
Correct.
including your produce, natural produce, and
It's a
meat.
good way to get good meats too.
Right,
Get
meat,
good meats from.
particularly when it comes to meat like grass-fed, grass-finished, though. That's the best way of getting them if you don't have anything around you, instead of trusting uh, the stores, department stores. Even today, I saw, what did I see? I forgot, a small video on YouTube that meat has been sitting on the shelf for 2 weeks that was sprayed with, you know, some chemicals so it would keep its freshness. And the same the same meat that was from the same cow was harvested at the same time wasn't sprayed with anything, and it was just also sitting 2 weeks. So they both grew the same bacteria. The one just kept its color and freshness.
That's gross.
And that is gross. And that's
Yeah.
what people, when they look at the packaging, they just see the meat and they buy it without thinking. So that's another reason that I wouldn't want to go to a department store to buy my groceries anymore.
And also too, it's they do what's called blade tenderizing, something like that.
Yeah,
It's and they do it to all the steaks, even in Costco, like all the steaks. So if you want to get something from Costco, you got to get the whole hunk and piece of meat and butcher it yourself.
right.
But like things like ribeye, it's a tender piece of meat. There's no reason to blade tenderize, but there's all the bacteria on those blades. It's being injected right into your meat.
Yeah,
It's really,
yeah,
there's just so many things to think about. But when you do get into some of these better meat uh, sources that you can buy online, it's butchered right then. It's vacuum sealed and right in the freezer. It goes.
right,
So it's about as good as it's going to get.
right.
I mean, they have to hang it and age it, but
Yeah. Unless you have your own farm and your own cattle.
well, that's what I'm heading towards.
Right.
Yeah, but I think somebody's going to get me overalls for a joke for Christmas and a straw hat.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we're up on the hour. I think we had a good chat with lots of information for everybody, and we will see you all here next week at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Hopefully, the people will be back from vacation and ready to join. And for the coaches that can, we have a call in 15 minutes, 8:15 for the coaches only call. So hope to see you there. All right, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
This session is no longer being recorded.